Criminal Law Book 2 CLJ4 Lecture 008 Penalties of Rape. Welcome back to Criminal Law Book 2. In today's lecture, we will continue with the crime of rape. Before we start, let us go over the instructions on how to read along with the lecture. 1. All italicized words, meaning leaning to the right, like what you are reading now, are explanations, and not part of the words of the law that we are currently discussing. 2. All the bolded words, meaning thick, like what you are reading right now, are words from the law we are discussing. Last time, we discussed Article 226A, which defines how rape is committed. Today, we will discuss Article 266B, which defines the different penalties for rape under different circumstances. Before we proceed, let us first talk about Republic Act 9346, or more commonly known as the Anti-Death Penalty Law. This became a law in June 24, 2006. RA 9346 prohibits the imposition of capital punishment, or the death penalty, and substitutes life imprisonment instead. As consequence, all crimes that were previously punished with the death penalty, like rape, are now punished with life imprisonment. With that, let us continue with rape and its penalties. Article 266b reads, Article 266b Penalty. Rape under paragraph 1 of the next preceding article shall be punished by reclusion perpetua. This refers to conventional rape where a man has sex with a woman using force or intimidation. The penalty is imprisonment of 20 years and 1 day to 40 years. If the rape is committed in the following situations, which we are about to enumerate, the penalty is 20 years and 1 day to life imprisonment. First, whenever the rape is committed with the use of a deadly weapon or by 2 or more persons, the penalty shall be reclusion perpetua to life imprisonment. Meaning, the conventional rape is committed with a knife, gun, or any other deadly weapon. Or, the conventional rape is committed through gangbang. Second, when by reason or on the occasion of the rape, the victim has become insane, the penalty shall become reclusion perpetua to life imprisonment. Meaning the victim became crazy because she was raped. Third, when the rape is attempted and a homicide is committed by reason or on the occasion thereof, the penalty shall be reclusion perpetua to life imprisonment. Meaning, while trying to rape a woman, the rapist or rapists killed someone, be it the victim or someone else. Example, while the rapists were tearing off the woman's clothes to rape her, they shot and killed her husband because he was screaming for help. And fourth, when by reason or on the occasion of the rape, homicide is committed, the penalty shall be life imprisonment. Here, it is basically the same as before, but this time the rape is consummated rather than attempted. Example, in order to conceal or hide the rape, the rapist killed the victim. By the way, and this is very important, there is no such thing as frustrated rape. It is either attempted or consummated. Frustrated rape is impossible. The same is true with the crime of bribery. The life imprisonment penalty shall also be imposed if the crime of rape is committed with any of the following aggravating/qualifying circumstances. If the rape is committed in the following situations, which we are about to enumerate, the penalty is life imprisonment. Meaning, the convicted rapist will never get out of prison unless he is dead. 1. When the victim is under 18 years of age and the offender is a parent, ascendant, step-parent, guardian, relative by consanguinity or affinity within the third civil degree, or the common law spouse of the parent of the victim, meaning, the victim is a minor, and the rapist is someone who is expected to protect the victim but rapes her instead. Relative by consanguinity means relative by blood, and relative by affinity means relative through marriage, or in-law. Example of a relative by consanguinity within the third civil degree are your uncles and aunties who are siblings of your parents. Example of a relative by affinity within the third civil degree are the brothers and sisters of your husband or wife. Common law spouse means live-in partner. 2. When the victim is under the custody of the police or military authorities or any law enforcement or penal institution. Here, the rapist does not need to be a member of the military or law enforcement. He could be anyone as long as the victim is under custody. The reason is that the rapist is really dangerous if he is daring enough to commit rape against someone who is being guarded by the military or the police. 3. When the rape is committed in full view of the spouse, parent, any of the children or other relatives within the third civil degree of consanguinity. Here, the rape is done in front of blood relatives. If done in front of the in-laws, the punishment is reclusion perpetua and not life imprisonment. 4. When the victim is a religious engaged in legitimate religious vocation or calling and is personally known to be such by the offender before or at the time of the commission of the crime. The rapist should have known that the victim is a nun before or during the rape. If he did not, the punishment is just reclusion perpetua. 5. When the victim is a child below 7 years old, you rape a child, you deserve to become a sex slave for other prisoners until you die. Disgusting. Sorry for that. 6. When the offender knows that he is afflicted with the human immunodeficiency virus, HIV/acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS, or any other sexually transmissible disease and the virus or disease is transmitted to the victim. Here, the sexually transmissible infection, STI, of the rapist must have infected the victim. If not, the penalty is reclusion perpetua. 7. When committed by any member of the armed forces of the Philippines or paramilitary units thereof or the Philippine National Police or any law enforcement agency or penal institution, when the offender took advantage of his position to facilitate the commission of the crime. Here, the rapist must not only be a member of the military or law enforcement, but he must also have used his profession to commit the rape. Example, when a police officer says to a suspect, "Have sex with me or else I will arrest you." Or when a jail guard says to a detainee, "Have sex with me or else you won't get your food." If the rapist just so happens to be a military, CAFGU, police, jail guard, Coast Guard, PDEA, or NBI personnel, but did not use his profession to commit the rape, the penalty is only reclusion perpetua. 8. When by reason or on the occasion of the rape, the victim has suffered permanent physical mutilation or disability. Mutilation means severe injury or damage. This could mean a large wound or a severed finger. Disability means loss of use of a body part. This could mean going blind, deaf or mute. The mutilation or disability must be permanent. If it is temporary, the penalty is not life imprisonment. 9. When the offender knew of the pregnancy of the offended party at the time of the commission of the crime, just like raping a nun, the rapist must have known that the victim is pregnant. And 10. When the offender knew of the mental disability, emotional disorder and/or physical handicap of the offended party at the time of the commission of the crime. Just like with the nun and the pregnant woman, the rapist should have known that the victim is a PWD. Person with disability. Example of mental disability is being an imbecile. A person who is physically an adult, but has the mind of a child. Rape under paragraph 2 of the next preceding article shall be punished by prison mayor. This refers to the second type of rape. The inserting of the penis into another person's mouth or anus, and inserting an object into another person's private parts or anus. The penalty here is imprisonment of 6 years and 1 day to 12 years. Whenever the rape is committed with the use of a deadly weapon or by 2 or more persons, the penalty shall be prison mayor to reclusion temporal. The penalty is imprisonment from 6 years and 1 day to 20 years. When by reason or on the occasion of the rape, the victim has become insane, the penalty shall be reclusion temporal. The penalty is imprisonment from 12 years and 1 day to 20 years. When the rape is attempted and a homicide is committed by reason or on the occasion thereof, the penalty shall be reclusion temporal to reclusion perpetua. The penalty is imprisonment from 12 years and 1 day to 40 years. When by reason or on the occasion of the rape, homicide is committed, the penalty shall be reclusion perpetua. The penalty is imprisonment from 20 years and 1 day to 40 years. Reclusion temporal shall be imposed if the rape is committed with any of the 10 aggravating/qualifying circumstances mentioned in this article. If the rape is committed in the following situations, which we have enumerated earlier, from incest rape of a minor to raping a PWD, the penalty is 12 years and 1 day to 20 years. Article 266(c), effect of pardon. The subsequent valid marriage between the offended party shall extinguish the criminal action or the penalty imposed. The marriage must be valid, otherwise the rapist will still be criminally liable. In the Philippines, the essential requisites for a valid marriage are as follows. 1. Legal capacity. Both partners must have the legal capacity to marry. This means they must be of legal age and meet other legal requirements. Importantly, they must be a male and a female. So, if both rapist and victim are of the same gender, pardon through marriage is impossible. 2. Consent. The consent to marry must be freely given in the presence of a solemnizing officer. This officer can be a mayor, member of the judiciary, priest, rabbi, or other authorized individuals. Additionally, a valid marriage license is generally required, except in specific cases provided by the family code. The question is, if the rape was committed by 2 or more persons, will the marriage to one of the rapists also pardons the others? The answer is no. The pardon can only be granted to the offender who the victim marries. The rest of them will be prosecuted. Another question. If the rapist is already married but the victim still marries him, will he be pardoned? The answer is still no. That marriage is bigamous, therefore illegal, therefore invalid. The rapist will still be prosecuted. Please remember that it must be the victim who wants to marry the rapist, and not the other way around. Even if the rapist wants to marry the victim, but the victim refuses, he will not be pardoned and he will be prosecuted. In case it is the legal husband who is the offender, the subsequent forgiveness by the wife as the offended party shall extinguish the criminal action or the penalty, provided that the crime shall not be extinguished or the penalty shall not be abated if the marriage is void ab initio. You heard it right. The husband cannot force the wife to have sex. If he does, he is a rapist and he will be prosecuted for being a rapist. Void ab initio means invalid from the very beginning. That concludes our discussion on rape. Thank you for listening. This is Mr. Moslina. Have a good day.